Ladies and gentlemen, the secret word tonight is smile. S-M-I-L-E.
Really?
You bet your life. The more than 3,000 DeSoto Plymouth dealers of America present Groucho Marx in You Bet Your Life, the comedy quiz series produced and transcribed from Hollywood. And here he is, the one, the only...
Groucho! That's me, Groucho Marx. Let's not overdo it now. Well, here I am again with $2,500 for one of our couples tonight. All right, Fenneman, who's supposed to try for the $2,500?
Well, we invited a number of newlyweds to the program tonight, and just before we went on the air, our studio audience selected Mr. and Mrs. Heineman, and here they are.
Oh.
Folks, come over here and meet Groucho Marx.
I see. A couple of newlyweds, eh? Jolly Heineman, is that right?
Hinman.
Oh,
Jolly.
Hinman, yeah. Hello, youngsters. Welcome for the DeSoto Plymouth dealers. And if you say the secret word, you'll win $100. It's a common word, something you always have with you. You may not use it, but you always have it with you. Now, Jolly Hinman. How newly wedded are you, Jolly?
1 3/4 months.
There, things are looking up here tonight. Are you standing in a box?
No, I don't think so.
No, huh? You're pretty tall, aren't you?
Yes, I guess I am.
That's the understatement of the year. Huh? How tall are you, Jolly?
I'm 6'1". Is that with or without shoes?
Well, I don't know you that well. Huh? And what is your name? Runce?
Rouse.
Oh, Rouse. Huh? Like Rouse Madam? Is that?
That's right.
How tall are you, Rouse?
I'm 6'5.5" without shoes.
You're crazy about being without shoes, you two. Well, it's obvious you're newlyweds. Your heads are in the clouds. Let's come down to earth and find out something about you two. What kind of work do you do?
Well, I work for Jolly's father.
I see. Now it comes out, huh? Nepotism in its most vicious form, huh? You work for Jolly's father?
Yes.
What do you do?
I work for Colby Poster Printing Company. That's his company, and I'm just learning the business there.
He's giving you the business eventually?
Possibly.
Now, were you working before you got married, Jolly?
No, I was going to school. I went to Los Angeles City College.
I see. Did you graduate from there?
No, I only went 1 year and got married.
You got married pretty early. Now, how'd you capture this fellow? Did you dig a deep pit and cover it with branches or something?
No, it's a pretty long story, but he came out to the Tip Topper Club where we met.
What is the Tip Topper Club?
It's a club for tall people. It's a social organization. And
you club each other?
No, not quite. Only after we're married. And then
you know she's doing better than I am.
And he asked me to dance, and so I danced with him, and so I was walking away because I liked this other guy, and he kept smiling at me.
You liked another fellow?
Huh? Yeah. I was going
Did you say smile?
Smile! You said the secret
word.
1 year in high school, and already she's got $100. Okay, now you were at this club, and you were dancing with another chap?
No, I was dancing with Rouse, and Rouse called me up the next day and asked me to go to a show and out to dinner. And so I went with him, hoping this other guy would call. And then my mother would say...
Women are so loyal.
My mother would say, well, she's not in, and then maybe he'd get the idea to ask me to go steady. So I went with
Your mother
Rouse.
was in cahoots on this lying that you were doing?
I guess so. And so I went out with Rouse and had a very nice time, but this other guy still interests me more. So the next week, Rouse said he'd ask me...
Rouse is a bit on the schlemiel side.
And in the meantime, Rouse came out to different parties, and one was a picnic, and we were playing baseball, and he broke my little finger. And the next week, though, he broke his toe and got even. And then
Rouse, do you carry a blackjack as regular equipment?
I'm thinking of it.
And so we seemed to have something in common, but I was still going steady with this other guy. Engaged
Well, what about your
now.
finger?
Well, it was okay then.
And your toe, was it all healed up?
No,
I've
no.
had reinfections of it.
He had his
It's
toenail
fine
finally
now.
taken off after we were married.
Well, that's pretty funny, huh? There's something tragic about a man getting married with only 9 toenails. Not that so necessary, but it's nice to have them, I think. Now, Rouse, tell me about your club. Could I join?
No, you couldn't.
Well, why not?
Well, we consider anybody under 6 feet shrimp.
That's as fishy an answer as I ever heard. Now, how big would I have to be to join your club?
Well, anybody that wants to get into the club has to be 6 foot 4 inches tall.
Any man would have to be that?
Any man, yes.
How about your wife? She's not 6 feet 4.
Well, she's a woman.
That's true. It never occurred to me. What you're saying is that women are different. Is that it?
That's it, in a way.
Well, live a little, learn a little. Well, you're a charming couple, and I know you'll be very happy together. May all your troubles be big ones. Now, in just a minute, you're going to play You Bet Your Life for a chance at the $2,500 question. Right now, I want you to pay close attention to Fenneman.
This is the season of the year to talk about courtesy. And so I'd like to say courtesy is not just a once-in-a-while thing at your DeSoto Plymouth dealers. The folks there make a practice of being courteous all year round. And they're not only proud of the way they conduct their business, but equally proud of the 2 superb cars they handle. The DeSoto is their pride and joy, as fine a car value as money can buy. It's an expertly engineered car with that famous drive-without-shifting DeSoto transmission. It's a safe car to operate because of its big and responsive brakes that stop you quickly, easily. It's a real roomy car, too, up front, in back, and in the trunk. And as for style, no car has lovelier lines and richer appointments than the lavishly styled DeSoto. And as for value, you'll be amazed how far your dollars go today when you buy a brand new DeSoto. Remember, too, all dealers who sell DeSoto also sell Plymouth, the American beauty, the car that likes to be compared. So look for those 2 great names linked together, DeSoto, Plymouth.
Now, let's see if you 2 will get a chance at the $2,500. Fenneman, explain the rules.
Each of our 3 couples has $20. They bet as much of that $20 as they want on each of 4 questions. And the couple that earns the most money gets a chance at the $2,500 DeSoto Plymouth question at the end of the show.
Is that clear?
Fine.
Okay, here we go. Let's see how high I can build you $20. You selected familiar movie roles. Now, here's your first question. How much of the 20 will you bet?
13.
13.
Yeah, I think that'll do.
13, huh?
Yeah.
Who played Andy Hardy in the series of that name?
Mickey Rooney.
Mickey Rooney is right. How is Fenneman going to figure up how much money they got?
I have no idea either.
Fenneman is accustomed to dealing in round numbers.
I'm sorry.
I got the first one, though.
Now, how much have they got?
$33.
You're the Einstein of the West, Fenneman. Remember, you're going for $2,500 tonight. Now, how much of the $33 will you bet on your second question?
What do you think?
Oh, to be 6 foot again. To be even 5 feet again.
23.
$23.
$23.
Okay. Who plays Hopalong Cassidy?
Oh, Bill Boyd.
Bill Boyd is right.
$56.
That's a very good magazine, the Billboard. I read it all the time. Now you have how much? $56. Here's your third question. How much of the 56 will you risk?
45.
45. Who created the role of Lynn Belvedere in Sitting Pretty?
Oh, Clifton Webb.
Clifton Webb is right.
They're really up there now. They have $101.
Now we do it like a regular quiz show. Here's your last chance to beat the other couples. Now, how much of the $101 you going to bet on this one? How much?
75.
How much you going to bet on this one now?
75.
Now, this is your last chance. You've got $101. How much you going to bet now?
75.
75?
Yeah.
Okay. Who created the role of Tugboat Annie?
Oh, Marjorie Main.
No.
One answer between you. No coaching, please.
Let's see.
You'll have to throw out the question, and also the one who hollers. Take a stab at it now. Oh, I'm sorry. It's Marie Dressler. It's a tough one, but how much have they got, Fenneman?
And they wind up with $26.
Well, that's not too bad, $26. That's $13 apiece. That's almost $1 a foot. Thanks, and Happy New Year from the DeSoto Plymouth dealers.
Well, Groucho, the secret word is still smile.
Still smile. That's
And
a-
just before we went on the air, our studio audience selected a fish dealer and a housewife to be on the program. And here they are, Mrs. Jean Gillen and Mr. Jack Berger. Meet Groucho Marx.
Welcome to You Bet Your Life, kids. And if you say the secret word, you'll divide $100. It's a common word, something you always have with you. Now, let's see. Mrs. Jean Gillen, huh?
Yes, sir.
You're the housewife. And Jack Berger? You're a fishmonger, is that right?
That's right.
Where are you from, James?
I'm from New York City originally.
You're from New York. And Mrs. Gillen?
I'm from the smoky city of Pittsburgh.
You're from the smoky city of Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
Mrs. Gillen, you're living in the past. You're thinking of the Pittsburgh of 20 years ago,
Oh, yeah?
when they had winning ball clubs. Where is your husband? Why did you come to California?
Well, it was his idea.
I see.
husband's
I
idea.
presume he's back in Pittsburgh?
Oh, no, he's out here now, too.
What does your husband do for a living?
He's a marine engineer.
A what?
A marine engineer.
A muddy engineer?
A marine.
Oh, marine engineer.
Yeah.
Oh, marine engineer, huh? You're Scotch, huh?
I sure am.
Oh, sure. Now I recognize the dialect. He's a marine engineer, and where does he operate?
Well, he's not working at it now, but he used to go to sea for quite a number of years. He was at sea.
What did he go to see? Do you remember?
Yeah, just to see what he could see.
I suppose in Scotland that's considered a pretty hot joke, huh? How did you meet him?
Well, when I came to this country at first, we were quarantined. We couldn't get into Ellis Island, and we were to go and stay on Pier 54. We were all made to go and sleep there. We stayed there for a week. Mm-hmm. And there was a crew from another ship came over with a band to entertain us, and we were doing quadrilles.
Well, did you do the Highland Fling?
No, I was doing the quadrilles, and in one part of the quadrilles, they swing you around, and the two big fellas swung me around. I slipped out with their arms, and I fell into the drum. So when he picked me up, this fella came over, he picked me up, So I didn't see him after that for 4 months, and I was at Coney Island with my sister one day, and we're at Luna Park in the Wheel of Fortune, that great big wheel that goes spinning round and round. Well, we went on that, and I sat on the wheel, and I got knocked off, and when I got knocked off, I got knocked right into him.
Well, did you get married while this thing was spinning around?
No, we eloped up to Middletown, New York, and got married.
Why did you elope?
Oh, well, I was scared of my mother.
Are you still scared of her?
No, not now. I'm a big girl now.
Has anything unusual ever happened to you?
Well, nothing very much unusual, but I've got my own back. My husband one time took $5 out of my pocketbook, and he got dressed up and went out. And when he came home that night, I went through his pockets and I found a program for the opera from New York. So the next morning when I made up his lunch, instead of putting any meat on his sandwich, I put the program in between his 2 slices of bread.
Well, that's not a fish story, but it's a good meat story. Now, what fish market do you work for, Mr. Berger?
Jack's Fish and Poultry Market.
Now, tell me, do fish have any special value as food? For example, are they packed with vitamins?
They are, and they are considered a brain food.
Seems to me if a fish had any brains, he'd still be in the water. What specifically, where do you get your fish? And don't say out of the Pacific either.
Well, we get our fish from many states. We get fish from Maine, from the state of Washington, from Massachusetts.
Boston, Massachusetts?
Oh, yes.
A lot
we
of
get
fish from Boston?
A lot of fish from Boston.
Do they swim here by themselves?
No.
Be pretty tired by that. How do they get here? Huh?
Well, fish from Boston we fly. We bring them
Oh, that's
through the
flying
air.
fish. Isn't it pretty expensive to fly your fish out here from Boston?
Well, it's pretty expensive, but it'd be more expensive to go to Boston than get it yourself.
Well, there's a great deal in what you say. Not too much, but some. A little bit. Well, thanks to you, Jack, I know all there is to know about fish. Now, let's see if you can hook me for $2,500 DeSoto Plymouth clams. You run your $20 into more than our other couples. Fenneman's offstage to remind our listeners how much the first couple won.
The newlyweds won $27.
Here we go. Now, let's see how high I can bid you $20. You selected famous words. Now, here's your first question. How much will you bet?
$15.
Is that all right with you?
It's all right for me, yeah.
All right. To what are these the opening words? In the beginning,
The opening words of the creation. In the beginning, the Lord made the
Heaven
heaven.
and
well, I think that's right. It's the first words of the Bible. Right?
Well, you keep going your way. You have $35.
Stop shouting in my ears, man. Remember, you're going for $2,500 tonight. Now, how much of your 35 will you risk on your second question?
25.
All right. To what are these the opening words? We, the people,
The Constitution
the
of the United
Constitution
States.
of the United States. $60. All right, you got $60. Now, here's your third question. How much of the 60 are you going to go for?
50.
Yeah.
50.
All right, $50. To what are these the opening words? 7 years ago.
Gettysburg Address.
Gettysburg Address is correct.
Now they climb to $110.
And here's your last chance to beat the other couples. Now, how much of the 110 are you going to go for?
All of it.
$100.
Yeah, okay.
$100.
All right, to what are these the opening words? When in the course of human events... Talk it over.
The Declaration of
Declaration of Independence.
And they wind up.
You just got there in the nick of time, huh?
And they wind up with $210.
Thanks and a Happy New Year from the DeSoto Plymouth dealers.
The secret word is still smile.
Still smile,
Still
huh?
smile. And we
Okay.
invited some college football players to the program tonight. And just before we went on the air, our studio audience selected Paul McMurtry. His partner is a judo expert, June Tegner. And here they are. Folks, I'd like you to meet Groucho Marx. Right up here, please.
Well, welcome to You Bet Your Life. And if you say the secret word, I'll split $100 between you. It's a common word, something you always have with you. June Tegner, you're the judo expert?
Yes.
What is judo?
Well, it's the art of self-defense.
Well, thanks for the warning, eh? And Paul McMurtry, you're the football player.
That's right.
Where you from, Paul?
I'm originally from Rio Hondo, Texas.
How do you spell that?
RIOHONDO.
Not bad for a football player. Well, you're certainly a big hunk of man. Now, how much do you weigh on the hoof?
About 230.
How old are you, Paul?
31 years old.
And where do you play football?
USC.
USC, and you're 31 years old?
That's right.
What position do you play on the USC football squad?
I play right guard.
Uh-huh. Why do you play that?
That's where the coach puts me.
What do you want to be when you graduate from college, if you ever do?
I like to be a football coach.
Well, how come you're in college at this age? Isn't that rather unusual to be there at that age?
Well,
You don't look dumb.
I spent 8 years in the Navy.
Oh, you didn't say that, huh? You'll forgive me for those cheap insults before, won't you, Paul?
Sure thing.
You better, huh? June, let's talk about judo, eh? What does judo mean in Japanese?
Well, judo is Japanese. In English, it means soft way.
The soft way? And what is the soft way? What can you do to a man with judo?
Well, you can throw him or break his arm or you stun him or knock him out or kill them, anything you want to do.
And that's the soft way? I won't ask you what's the hard way. Do you have a job, June?
Oh, yes, I teach at the National Judo Association in Hollywood on the Sunset Strip. It's the oldest school in this country.
It is, huh? Is it old enough for him to get in? June, do you think a knowledge of judo would help our football hero here out on the field?
Well, it may not help him out on the field, but it would certainly help him off the field.
Well, you'd have to have some kind of help off the field, I guess. Could you use her on your football team?
You sure could.
It would never work. I never saw a football game where both teams were chasing the same player. Well, June, in your work as a judo instructor, has anything embarrassing ever happened to you?
Well, yes, a lot of things, but, there's one.
One specifically that you could tell us about?
Well, I was in the show with my sister once. And,
in a show? What kind of a show?
A movie, theater. And there was a masher sitting alongside of me, and he puts his arm around me. And so I used a nerve center where I push against his head. You know, I pushed him back, and he's laying back over the seat, and my sister and I were eating popcorn. He's making a lot of noise, and he's gasping, and people are saying, "Be quiet," quiet down front. So I started stuffing popcorn down his mouth. I was embarrassed.
Well, that's very interesting. What was the name of the picture? Do you remember? Was it Great Expectations? What, was it buttered popcorn?
Salted.
I think that's the best kind to strangle a man with. Well, it's been very interesting having you two here tonight. And June, anytime you want to demonstrate any of your holds on me, just remember I'm all tied up. Now you're going to play your bet your life. You beat our other two couples, you'll get a chance at the $2,500 DeSoto Plymouth question.
The fish dealer and the housewife are ahead with $210.
Here we go. Let's see how high you can build your $20. Now, you're a college boy. You ought to be pretty good at this. You selected bowl games. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay. How much are you going to bet?
14.
14.
$14. Then you're getting strange sums here tonight. Huh? This is all a plot against you, Fenneman.
I'm sure it is.
All right. You're going to bet $14. In what city is the Sugar Bowl game played? The Sugar Bowl game.
New Orleans, Louisiana.
New Orleans is right. $24. Remember, you're going for $2,500 tonight. Now, how much of the $24? You did a masterly job there. Huh? How much have they got?
$24.
That's all they've got? I told you Fenneman couldn't count, huh? I've been watching him for years up here.
14. You're right. $34.
Isn't it pitiful? There's a grown man with 3 children. He can't count up to 34. Huh? All right, you're going to bet how much?
29.
29. Fenneman, they're after you tonight. You better start figuring now, huh?
29.
Yes. Where is the Cotton Bowl game played?
Dallas, Texas.
Dallas, Texas.
How about 63?
That's all right with me, huh? Here's your third question. How much of the 63 you going to go for?
39.
All right. Where is the Shrine East-West game played?
San Francisco.
San Francisco.
Oh, he's finding out. They have $102.
You got $102, and here's your last chance to beat the other couples. How much will you bet?
$11.
$11.
$11. Well, that's a very thrifty play there, huh? Now, what city plays host to the Orange Bowl game?
Miami, Florida.
Miami, Florida is right. He knows all the answers, but he's just teasing me on each one.
And they wind up with $113.
Splendid, Fenneman. You've done a magnificent job tonight, huh?
I was going on to say that means the housewife and the fish dealer with $210 get the chance at the DeSoto Plymouth $2,500 question. You know, there are more than 3,000 DeSoto Plymouth dealers located throughout the country. This means that as you travel, on business or perhaps on a vacation, you can rest assured you're not too far from a DeSoto Plymouth dealer. A car dealer equipped to render the same kind of expert service you're used to getting from the DeSoto Plymouth dealer in your own hometown. A dealer with a supply of factory-inspected and approved Mopar parts. A dealer who wants to serve you just as honestly and skillfully as the DeSoto Plymouth dealer where you live. Yes, it's a big organization, and it's bound together by a common desire to do good work at a fair price. So wherever you are, or wherever you drive, come in where you see the familiar sign of a DeSoto Plymouth dealer. And here's the housewife and the fish salesman all set for the DeSoto Plymouth big question, Groucho.
Well, here's little Scotty again and the old fish man, huh? All right, now here we go for $2,500. I'll give you 15 seconds to decide on a single answer between you. So think carefully and please no help from the audience. Here it is. You got your thinking caps on?
Should have.
Aye. Well, the most beautiful building in the world is located at Agra, India. A-G-R-A, India. What building am I talking about?
Taj
Taj
Mahal.
Mahal.
Taj Mahal! That's right. You win $2,500. You had the right answer, so you win $2,500. Now, what are you going to do with all that swag?
Well, I have a daughter when she was a little girl that miraculously recovered from polio. And I feel winning this money, the first I've ever won in my life, and I'm going to donate $500 to the Infantile Paralysis Fund.
Well, thank you. That's a wonderful way to spend the money. And what are you going to do with your swag?
Oh, well, I just don't know what I'm going to do. I'm so flabbergasted.
Well, let's say you weren't flabbergasted. What are you going to do with the money?
Well, I have a daughter married to a GI, and he's gone to school, and I haven't seen her for a long while, and there's lots of things I can do for them. They're just starting out.
That's wonderful. Well, let's see. You win $2,500 plus $210 in the quiz. You really cleaned up tonight. Congratulations and a Happy New Year from the more than 3,000 DeSoto Plymouth dealers from coast to coast. You bet your life.
Thank you.
Be sure to tune in again next Wednesday night at this time for the Groucho Marx Show, when the big question will be worth $1,000. And don't miss Groucho's television show, also presented by the DeSoto Plymouth Dealers of America. And remember, all dealers who sell DeSoto also sell Plymouth, two great cars, both products of the Chrysler Corporation.
And when you drive in, folks, tell them Groucho sent you. Just be sure to see your DeSoto Plymouth.
Folks, here's a reminder from the National Safety Council. Ease up when there's a freeze up. You Bet Your Life, transcribed from Hollywood, is produced by John Goodell, directed by Robert Dwan and Bernie Smith, music by Jerry Fielding. This is George Fendelman signing off for the more than 3,000 DeSoto Plymouth dealers from coast to coast. Ladies and gentlemen, the secret word tonight is chair. C-H-A-I-R.
Really?
You Bet Your Life. The The more than 3,000 DeSoto Plymouth Dealers of America present Groucho Marx in You Bet Your Life, the comedy quiz series produced and transcribed from Hollywood. And here he is, the one, the only...
That's me, Groucho Marx. Well, here I am again with $1,000 for one of our couples. Fenneman, who's first to try for it?
Well, we invited some lawyers and some secretaries who work for psychiatrists to the program tonight, Groucho, and just before we went on the air, our studio audience selected Miss Jackie Mandel and lawyer John Jacobs, Jr., and here they are, folks. Meet Groucho Marx.
Welcome for the DeSoto Plymouth Dealers, and if you say the secret word, you'll divide $100. It's a common word, something you'll find around the house. Miss Fenneman?
Mandel.
You can pick up your check at the front office. Jackie Mandel, eh? You're a secretary to a psychiatrist?
Yes, I am.
What's his name?
He may be listening.
Well, I'm listening. Why don't you tell me? Eh?
Yeah, but you can't fire me.
I could have had matches. Where are you from,
I
Miss
get all burned up.
What? This is going to be a duel of no wits. Where are you from, Miss Mandel?
Chicago.
Chicago, huh? And Mr. Jacobs, you're a lawyer?
I am, sir.
Are you married?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any children?
I have 2 stepchildren.
And how many children do you have, Miss Mandel?
I'm not married.
Well, don't come running to me with your problem. Well, let's talk about psychiatry, Miss Mandel. Huh? In the first place, how do you spell it?
P-S-Y-C-H-I-A-T-R-Y.
That's pretty good. I always thought that was chrysanthemum. How does a psychiatrist work on a patient? For example, does he have them lie down and tell their life story? What does he do?
Well, it's optional. Some want to sit up and some like to lie down. And
is it any cheaper lying down?
No, the fee's about the same.
By the way, did you hear about the 2 psychiatrists who met on the street and one of them said hello? The other one said, I wonder what he meant by that. Mr. Jacobs, what kind of a lawyer are you?
Well, I hope I'm a good lawyer.
Do you know the penalty for perjury? Suppose in a criminal case your client is obviously guilty. What do you do, Mr. Jacobs?
Well, if he's obviously guilty, I will defend him to the best of my ability in a legal manner.
Show enough? Some lawyer, they're strapping the buckle on the electric chair, and he's tickled pink because he got an illegal conviction. Now, do you take any case that comes along, or just the guilty one?
I take any case that I think that I may be able to help anyone, but I have the right to turn down if I desire.
Let's say I've been arrested for stealing. Would you take my case?
What kind of a case?
Well, I didn't steal anything.
Stealing what?
Well, I happened to be walking down an alley, and 4 chickens flew into my gunny sack. Now, how are you going to keep me out of jail?
Well, I have various means to sort of prolong the thing. I could probably...
You mean the sentence?
Get a habeas corpus, and probably get you out on bond, and then writ of mandamus possibly might work, or writ of prohibition.
I see. Well, there's a fine legal point involved here. While these chickens were in my possession, 2 of them laid eggs. Now, who do the eggs belong to? Me, the chickens, or the guy who was shooting at me?
That sounds worse than a law school question or a bar examination. I would say that in that case, possession is just about 9/10 of the law.
You think so? All right. Now, by some miscarriage of justice, I wind up in your court, and you're going to spring me. Now, what do you do?
Well, it sounds to me like that I probably should have pled you insane at the beginning.
Well, Mr. Jacobs, you were a passable witness, and if I ever need a lawyer, I'll see a good psychiatrist. Now, in just a minute, you're going to play You Bet Your Life for a chance at $1,000. First, here's something of importance.
It's not too late to wish a Happy New Year to all you car owners, and to add a word of advice. For a year of trouble-free motoring, have your car checked regularly, and by a DeSoto Plymouth dealer. If you're not one of the thousands who already know how expert DeSoto Plymouth service is, resolve to find out this week. And while you're there, make sure to ask your DeSoto Plymouth dealer about the two great cars he handles. The DeSoto is truly a magnificent car. It's a big car, yet it has sleek, graceful lines. A solidly built car that handles with complete ease. From its featherlight steering to its responsive brakes, from its waterproof ignition to its chair-high seats, DeSoto is a car built for extra convenience, extra comfort. And, of course, it's a DeSoto that lets you drive without shifting. And as for value, you'll be amazed how far your dollars go today when you buy a brand new DeSoto. Remember, too, all dealers who sell DeSoto also sell Plymouth, the American beauty. So drive in where you see those two great names linked together. DeSoto, Plymouth.
Now, let's see if you two will get a chance at the $1,000. Fenneman, explain the rules.
All right. Each of our three couples has $20. They bet as much of that 20 as they want on each of 4 questions. And the couple that earns the most money gets a chance at the $1,000 DeSoto Plymouth question at the end of the show.
All right, here we go. Let's see how high I can build you $20. You selected famous athletes. Here's your first question. How much of the 20 will you bet?
Yeah, 10.
10? Okay. In what sport is Sammy Baugh famous? B-A-U-G-H.
Football.
Football is right.
Well, they're on their way, Grouchos. They have $30.
All right, you got $30. Remember, you're going for $1,000 tonight. Now, how much of the 30 will you bet on your second question?
20.
All right. And what sport is Bobby? In what sport is Bobby Riggs famous?
Tennis.
Tennis is correct.
Well, you people are on your way. You have $50.
You got $50. Here's your third question. How much of the 50 will you bet?
25.
All right.
30.
30.
Huh? $30. In what sport is Ted Williams famous?
Baseball.
Baseball is right.
On your way up now, you have $80.
$80. Here's your last chance to beat the other couples. How much of the 80 are you going to go for?
$50.
$50. In what sport is Ben Hogan famous?
Oh, golf.
Golf is correct.
And you win $130 from the DeSoto Plymouth dealer. Groucho, the secret word is still chair. We invited some rocket experts and some railroad engineers to the program tonight, and just before we went on the air, our studio audience selected engineer John Morrison and rocket expert Albert Duwell. And here they are. Folks, come on in and meet Groucho Marx.
Welcome, gentlemen, to You Bet Your Life.
Oh.
And if you say the secret word, you'll divide $100 in cash. It's a common word, something you will find around the house. Now, let's see. Mr. Duwell, you're a rocket expert?
That's right.
Oh, you're a rocket expert, huh? Where are you from? The moon?
No, I work at
Mooniopolis?
the Naval Ordnance Test Station, China Lake.
China. And Mr. Morrison, you're the engineer, I presume.
Yes, sir.
Where are you from?
Well, I was raised in Colorado, Groucho, born in California.
What'd you do? Have one leg in each state? Who did you work for? Who do you work for?
The Atchison, Topeka, Santa Fe Railway.
Oh, well, you know that song about
Yes, sir.
Could you sing it?
No, I'm no singer.
You don't have to be a singer for that song. You just have to be a railroad, that's all. Are you married?
Yes, sir.
Did your wife ever give you a roundhouse when you have an argument? Do you run any special train or just a string of boxcars?
Well, I have run almost all the trains they have. At the present time, I'm on one of the San Diego Streamline trains between here and San Diego.
When you go on a vacation, how do you travel?
Oh, just one way. Rails, of course.
You take the rail.
You betcha.
I don't mind traveling by rail. It's the tar and feathers that bother me. Well, now, Space Patrol, tell us about your rockets. For example, how big are they?
Well, they run between 1 foot and 30 feet.
As much as that, huh? Well, what kind of a noise does it make when it goes off?
Oh, several different kinds of noise. They go whisk or zoom, something like that.
Are you trying to scam me? Zoom you, too. Huh? You can play at that game, you know. Do you think we'll ever be going to the moon in one of your rockets?
I think so. I think in about 30 years you will.
What would a trip to the moon be like? What, for example, would I need to pack in my overnight bag? Well, I'm thinking.
Well, to start off, when the rocket takes off, they'd probably strap you right to your chair and you
I
do...
You said the secret word chair, and you and the engineer over here split $100 between you, huh?
Well...
I expect to be strapped to my chair, but not on the moon, huh?
Well, when the rocket takes off, you'd be strapped to the chair, and
I'm
on the
strapped
way up,
anyhow.
on the way up, you'd probably pass meteorites and flying stars, and when you get there, you'd probably have to take your own food and water, and
What kind of food?
food that you eat today.
How do you know what I ate today?
And
Suppose I didn't eat today. What kind of food would I take to the moon?
what you ate yesterday, I guess. Well, you take regular.
What about tomorrow's food? Would you be interested in that, huh? I'm going to have lamb stew tomorrow night for dinner. How would that be on the moon?
I imagine it would be pretty good if you
Fine,
take it up
okay,
there.
well, I'm all set now.
You'd probably have to have weights in your pocket, because if you didn't, you'd take a step, you'd probably go up 30 or 40 feet. That's
I'm
the
in
reason
great
for
shape.
the weights.
You're walking around the moon with lead in my pants and a lamb stew, huh? That's the most curious equipment for a solar trip I ever heard of.
Well, that's theoretically speaking.
Oh, this is just all theoretical
That's
stuff,
right.
huh? Maybe I won't even need the lamb stew, huh?
Could be.
I couldn't take the Santa Fe from San Diego, huh? Okay, I'll go, but I'm only buying a one-way ticket. I'm not going to throw my money away, huh? How fast do your rockets go?
Oh, they go as fast as 2,000 miles an hour.
Really? They go that fast?
Yes, sir, they do.
Wouldn't do the lamb stew much good, I guess. Now, Streamliner, how would you like to drive a train that made it to Chicago in an hour?
Well, under the conditions we got here, it'd be quite a thrill.
2,000 miles an hour. You'd lean out of the cab to kiss your wife goodbye in Los Angeles and wind up kissing a red cap in Kansas City. Well, we've come a long way from Noah's Ark to rockets, and I never thought I'd live to see both of them. All right, now you're going to play You Bet Your Life. You beat our other two couples, and you'll get a chance at the $1,000 DeSoto Plymouth question. I can't tell you how much our first couple won, but Fenneman's off stage to remind our listeners.
The lawyer and the secretary won $130.
Here we go. Let's see how high I can build you $20. You selected Islands of the World. Is that right?
That's right.
Now, here's your first question. How much of the 20 are you going to risk?
15?
What is the name of the island off the toe of Italy?
Sicily.
Sicily is correct.
Well, you fellas are climbing. You're on your way. You have $35.
All right, remember you're going for $1,000 tonight. Now, how much of the 35 are you going to bet?
31.
31. Do you approve of that, Johnny?
Oh, you betcha. You betcha. We're
Johnny
going
is
for...
an amiable cuss, isn't he? I bet he'd let you ride free on his railroad.
If I could.
Try it sometime. You get kicked off at Glendale, huh? All right, what's the name of the island prison located in San Francisco Bay?
Alcatraz.
Alcatraz is right, huh?
Now you have $66.
Johnny Morrison, how did you know that so quickly?
I've been by there lots of times.
Is that your alma mater? All right, here's your third question. How much of the 60 are you going to bet?
66.
66?
Yes.
Oh, $60.
$60. What is the largest island in the world? You can talk it over, you know. If you're not sure, take a guess.
Cuba?
Australia.
Madagascar. No.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's Greenland.
Greenland.
You now have $6.
Let's go for the
You've
six.
just got enough left for the lamb stew to the moon. All right, here's your last chance to beat the other couples. You're going to bet the $6. What is the name of the string of islands extending from Alaska?
Aleutian.
The Aleutian Islands is right.
And you'll wind up with $12 from the DeSoto Plymouth Dealers of America.
Put it there, Johnny. Gentlemen, proceed.
All right, Groucho, the secret word is still chair. Just before we went on the air, we selected a young mother who has some young children to be on the program, Mrs. Grace Hunter. Her partner is a nursery school teacher, Mrs. Grace King. Ladies, meet Groucho Marx.
Welcome, girls, to You Bet Your Life. And if you say the secret word, you'll divide $100. It's a common word, something you'll find around the house. Let's see. A mother, some small children, and a nursery school teacher. Mrs. King, you're from a nursery school.
Yes,
huh?
I am.
Do you teach the flowers about the bees? No?
Exactly.
Which nursery school? Huh?
It's the Hillendale Nursery Kindergarten in Pacific Palisades.
What's your language? What did you say was the name of that?
Hill and Dale.
Oh, Hill and Dale. Are you married?
Yes, I'm married.
You are married, huh? Oh, that's nice. What does your husband do?
He is a field representative with the Social Security Administration.
He's with the Social Security? You mean he's over 65? How did you meet Mr. Hunter?
I'm Mrs.
Oh,
King.
you're Mrs. King, huh? Mr. Hunter isn't good enough for you, huh? You look very pretty, Mrs. King. You don't mind if I call you Mrs. Hunter occasionally, huh? And you're Mrs. Hunter, is that right? Huh?
That's right.
Now, Mrs. Hunter, how did you meet your husband, Mr. King?
He was going steady with the redhead next door. And
your husband was going steady with a redhead next door?
Yes.
So?
And I used to go to dancing school, and then I'd come home and teach my 4 brothers and my sister how to dance, and he used to come over to learn, too, because he didn't know how to dance.
And what happened to the redhead?
Well, I moved away from that neighborhood. I moved 2 blocks over, and I don't know what happened to her, because he started coming over to my house.
Well, did he ever tell you about the redhead?
He didn't have to. I lived next door.
How long have you been married, Mrs. King?
Mrs. Hunter has been married 13 years.
You've been married 13 years, and how many children do you have?
I have 6.
You have 6 children, huh?
Yes.
That redhead just got out in time. How many of these kids are boys, Mrs. Hunter?
There's 3 boys.
You have 3 boys? Let's see.
Yes.
3 from 6. Well, you must have 3 girls, huh?
That's right.
I don't want you to think I wasted my early years shooting pool. Well, let's change the subject, and if I know the subject, it probably needs changing. How many children do you have in your nursery, Mrs. King?
27.
And how old are your children?
From 2 to 5.
They run from 2 to 5?
Run from 2 to 5.
They must be pretty tired by 5 o'clock, huh? What are the names of your youngsters, Mrs. Hunter?
Oh, pardon. I thought you were going to ask all 27 names of the nursery school.
Okay, what are the names of your youngsters? Well, what are their ages? Mrs. Hunter, what are their ages?
My children's ages?
Your age.
Oh, they run from 3 to 12.
You mean that your kids can run longer than her kids? Why is that? Do they get lamb stew at your house? You think your children would be interested in a trip to the moon?
Well, when it starts.
What are their ages, Mrs. Hunter?
They run from...
Specifically, huh?
Oh, well, I have one that was just 12, and I have one that will be 12 in 3 months, and I have one that's 9.
You have one that's 12 in 3 months?
I have one that just was 12, and in 3 months I'll have another one that will be 12.
That one isn't even born yet, huh?
And I have one that's 9, one that's 6, and 2 that are 3.
I see. And how old would you say the redhead is now? Now, Mrs. King, tell us about your nursery. What is the purpose of such a school?
Well, we provide an enriched environment for the preschool child before he's ready for the formal education.
No, I mean, that's what you tell the mother when you try to hook them for that $50 a month. I mean, what actually is the purpose of the school? See, I have a 4-year-old, too, you know.
Well, we help the children to live together.
You want to hear a story about my child?
Love to.
I had her up in Beverly the other day, and she's 4 years old, and she's about that high, and she had these two big guns on. She could barely walk, just going like this, and these two big revolvers were barreling her down like this. And finally she turned to me, she says, Daddy, carry me. I says, carry you? Well, you're supposed to be a big cowboy. Hop along. Suppose somebody comes along and sees you in my arms. She says, well, if anybody says anything, I'll tell them you're a horse.
Groucho,
What's that?
everybody off stage, and I'm sure some people out here in the audience, have been wondering how these two children of Mrs. Hunter's can be so close to 12. I mean, one is 12, and then another one is going to be 12 in 3 months. How is this done?
Okay,
Well,
Mrs. Hunter.
One of the boys...
How come that one of your children are 12 and one is 12 in 3 months?
Well, I had 5 children, and the one boy that's the oldest was lonesome because the rest were girls and then the twin babies. So we adopted a boy to go with him, keep him company.
Thank you. I'm sure that answers my question.
Penniman, try not to come back again, huh? How do your kids amuse themselves on a rainy day, Mrs. Hunter?
Oh, they go out in the garage and fight.
Go out in the garage and fight? Your Band-Aid bill must be pretty big around that house, isn't it? Now, how do your kids amuse themselves on a rainy day?
Well, we have them indoors, and they sit on chairs and work at their tables.
And you and Mrs. Hunter are going to split $100 between you, huh? $50 apiece there. Now, what are some of the games you play with your children, Mrs. Hunter?
Oh, I play hide and seek and red light, green light.
Red light, green light? How do you play that?
Well, you all get in a line and you tell them they can go, and then they have to stop real quick on the line. Didn't you ever play it? We play London Bridge is Falling Down.
Well, let's play one of your games. Are you willing?
Why, sure. What would you like to play?
Would you be interested in a snappy game of post office? How about London Bridge? I haven't played that for over a year.
Grace and I did make the bridge like this. Well, come on, we're starting.
Do I go in here?
The bridge is falling down.
Well, what do I do?
The bridge is falling down.
Is there an arthritic doctor in the house? Well, you make a wonderful team. Feminine but wonderful, huh? The next time I want to play games, I'll stick to spin the bottle. All right, now we're ready. Now let's see how well you make out in the battle for the $1,000. You've got to run your $20 into more than our other couples. I can't tell you how much the other couples won, but Fenneman's going to remind our listeners.
The lawyer and the secretary are still ahead with $130.
Here we go. Let's see how high I can build you $20. You selected fictional children. Here's your first question. Now, how much are you going to bet?
10.
10? All right. What was the name of the little girl who trespassed on the 3 bears?
Goldilocks.
Goldilocks is right. And you're on your way. You have $30. You got $30. Remember, you're going for $1,000 tonight. How much of 30 are you going to go for?
20.
$20. What was the name of the little boy who discovered a magic lamp?
Aladdin.
Aladdin is right. $50. Here's your third question. How much of the 50 are you going to go for?
35.
What was the name of the little girl who went through the looking glass?
Alice.
Alice is right. And you climbed to $85. $85. Here's your last chance to beat the other couples. How much of the 85 are you going to go for? Don't I sound like an auctioneer?
65.
65.
65. What was the name of the little boy who was a pal of Tom Sawyer's?
Huckleberry Finn.
Huckleberry Finn.
And they wind up with a grand total of $150. And that means that they, with their $150, get the chance at the DeSoto Plymouth $1,000 question. Earlier, I mentioned the wisdom of having your car checked regularly at a DeSoto Plymouth dealer's. The benefits to you and your family in time saved, in reducing inconvenience, yes, and in money saved by a regular DeSoto Plymouth dealer checkup are things you can't afford to be without. Take lubrication as just one case in point. DeSoto Plymouth dealers keep accurate files on when your car needs a lubrication job. And when they do lubrication work, they do it right type of lubricants in the right amounts when and where your car needs it. Proper lubricating is just one of the many important jobs DeSoto Plymouth Service is equipped to do right. Take advantage of the better service that's available to you wherever you see the sign of a DeSoto Plymouth dealer.
All right, here we go for $1,000. I'll give you 15 seconds to decide on a single answer between you, so think carefully, and please no help from the audience. Here it is. The political pot already is seething for the presidential elections in '52. For $1,000, who was the candidate of the Dixiecrats in the 1948 election? What's the answer you two have decided upon?
What was the name of the vice president that was with Roosevelt?
No, I'm sorry. The name is J. Strom Thurmond. Thurmond.
No.
That was a tough one. I'm sorry. That's the correct answer. How much did they win, Fenneman?
Well, they wound up with $150.
Well, that's not so bad.
And you said the secret word, didn't you?
Yes, so they have how much? $280?
$250.
Well, a veritable fortune, $250. So that means the big question next week. That means the big question next week will be worth $1,500. Well, you lost the big money, but you won $250. Congratulations and thanks to both of you. And to all of our contestants on the show tonight.
Be sure to tune in again next Wednesday night at this time for the Groucho Marx Show, when the big question will be worth $1,500. And don't miss Groucho's television show, also presented by the DeSoto Plymouth Dealers of America. And remember, all dealers who sell DeSoto also sell Plymouth. Two great cars, both products of the Chrysler Corporation.
And when you drive in, tell them Groucho sent you. Good night, folks, and remember, just be sure to see your DeSoto Plymouth dealer.
Folks, here's a reminder from the National Safety Council. Remember the ABCs of safety. Always be careful. You Bet Your Life, transcribed from Hollywood, is produced by John Goodell, directed by Robert Dwan and Bernie Smith. Music by Jerry Fielding. This is George Fenneman signing off for the more than 3,000 DeSoto Plymouth dealers from coast to coast.
The secret word tonight is heart. H-E-A-R-T.
Really?
You Bet Your Life. The more than 3,000 DeSoto Plymouth Dealers of America present the best of Groucho. Yes, friends, it's a Groucho summertime. By popular demand from your letters, from rating histories, and the acclaim of critics, the DeSoto Plymouth Dealers bring you selected shows from You Bet Your Life, the comedy quiz series produced and transcribed from Hollywood. Groucho Marx is on vacation, friends, and will return in the fall. Until then, it's fun and laughs each week this summer as we proudly present some of the best of Groucho's past shows. And here he is, the one, the only... Groucho!
That's me. Well, here I am again with $1,500 for one of our couples. Fenneman, who's first to try for the $1,500?
Well, we invited some weathermen and some cashiers who work in drive-in theaters to the program tonight, and just before we went on the air, our studio audience selected Miss Winnie Wynn and the weatherman John Aldrich. Folks, come over here and meet Groucho Marx.
Welcome, kids, to You Bet Your Life. And if you say the secret word, you'll divide $100. It's a common word, something you always have with you. John Aldrich, huh? Speak for yourself, John Aldrich, wasn't it? Well, Miss Wynn, you're a movie cashier?
That's right.
Where are you from?
My birthplace is Bristow, Oklahoma.
Winnie Wynn. Isn't that a cute name, huh? A cute girl, too, huh?
Thank you.
I'll just call you Winnie. Winnie the Pooh, huh? How old are you, Winnie?
27.
27? Well, you don't look it. I thought you were about 21.
Thank you.
They must take good care of you in Oklahoma. Are you married?
Yes, I am.
Well, you don't look it. Mr. What is your name? Mr. Aldrich, huh? You're the weatherman, huh?
Yes, sir.
Where do you hail from?
Des Moines, Iowa.
You get that, son? I said, where do you hail from?
Yeah.
And you're a weatherman. Huh?
That's pretty good.
Yes, that's deucedly clever, huh? What are your duties in the Weather Bureau, John?
Well, our duties of the Weather Bureau are threefold: to furnish forecasts for the general public, and for aviation, and for fire protection.
How is it you weathermen guess wrong so much of the time?
Well, we don't do it by guessing.
I beg your pardon. How is it your scientific analysis, based on precise mathematical calculations, are so consistently incorrect? Riddle me that, old boy.
Well, we don't do so badly.
You're not always wrong, huh?
We're not always wrong.
You mean it's the weather that's usually wrong, huh? What would you say your average is?
Well, from 50 to 100%.
Is that so? You mean you're 100% correct 50% of the time? Now, I know that everybody makes jokes about the weatherman. Do you have any favorite jokes? I imagine you get a lot of kidding about the weather.
Well, I think my favorite is the story about the king who led his knights out to battle. And on the way, he met a farmer, and the farmer hailed him and says, "Ho, king, better not go on, it's going to rain." "Oh, no, I've checked with my prophets." So on he went, and it rained, and he was driven back defeated. So after beheading his prophets, the king sent for the farmer, and he said, "Look here, my man, how was it you knew the storm was coming?" "Well, Your Highness, I have a little beast of burden. He's very sensitive to weather, and when his ears are erect, why, you know the good weather's ahead, but when his ears droop low, why, it's a sure sign of rain." And from that day on, the jackass has been a weather prophet, and vice versa.
We'll now sing the Donkey Serenade. Now, Winnie, you're still awake, aren't you? Huh?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Now, let's get back to your movie. Which movie do you work for?
The Pacific Drive-In Theater in Compton.
Now, what's going on in your drive-in theater tonight, for example?
Destination Moon.
What is it?
Destination Moon and Mr. Lucky.
Uh-huh. Well, if I know drive-ins, there's more than that going on there tonight. You know, the last time I was at a drive-in, the movie stopped and it was 40 minutes before a customer complained. And he only complained about the mosquitoes. How many people are there in the average car that come to your drive-in?
Well, just a shade over 2.
Well, that's certainly a handy thing to have at a drive-in. Does anyone ever try to sneak into your drive-in?
Oh, yes. We had that happen.
You do?
Yes.
Could you give me an example? How?
Well, yes. One night, this one fellow came in alone, so the usher sort of suspected something, and they followed him over and caught 6 other guys, or 7, I think it was, climbing out of the trunk, or the turtleback, whatever it was.
Imagine people being that dishonest, sneaking into a movie theater. Do you ever bother to look under the engine?
Well, no, I don't think anybody hide there.
Well, you should have. There weren't 7 people in that boy's car. There were 8 of us. Well, I must say you're an interesting couple, and if I decide to go to a drive-in theater, I'll consult a good groundhog first. Or that jackass. And now, let's see if two heads are better than one. You're going to play You Bet Your Life for a chance at $1,500. But first, here's something of importance.
Everybody's talking about power steering, the new feature that helps you turn the steering wheel with so little effort. But wait. Before you buy any car with power steering, remember this. Only the DeSoto type is full power steering, offering you these three big advantages. First, it operates at all times, not just some of the time, but all of the time. Second, it's always predictable. The feel of the wheel never changes. Third, DeSoto's full power steering lets you turn the steering wheel from one extreme to the other in only 3.5 turns, instead of the conventional 5.5. Try the DeSoto type of full power steering. Go to your DeSoto Plymouth dealers and take the 5-mile trial.
Take the 5-mile trial.
Yes, take the 5-mile trial in either the 160 horsepower DeSoto Fire Dome 8 or the famous DeSoto PowerMaster 6. And remember, all dealers who sell DeSoto also sell Plymouth, the low-priced car most like high-priced cars.
Okay, now let's see if you two will get a chance at the $1,500. Fenneman, explain the rules in your broken English.
All right. Each of our three couples has $20. They bet as much of that 20 as they want on each of 4 questions, and the couple that earns the most money gets a chance at the $1,500 DeSoto Plymouth question at the end of the show.
That clear? Yes, all right, here we go. Let's see how high I can build you $20. You selected colors of flowers as your category. Now, here's your first question. How much of the 20 will you try?
16. What did you say?
I said 10.
We'll split it. 13.
All right. What color is a poinsettia?
Red.
Red is correct.
And you're on your way. You have $33.
You're on your way with $33. Remember, you're going for $1,500. How much of the 33 will you bet on your second question?
20.
What's up a little, huh?
Okay.
26?
26.
All right. What color is a calla lily?
White.
White is correct.
Really going now, you have $59.
$59. How much of the 59 you going to go for?
50.
Good.
$50. What color is a daffodil?
Yellow.
Yellow is right.
And you climb all the way to $109.
$109 is your last chance to beat the other couples. How much of the 109?
90.
Okay.
$90. What color is a gardenia?
White.
White is correct.
And you wind up with $199 from the DeSoto Plymouth dealers. Thank you very, very much. Groucho, the secret word is still heart.
Yes, I know. Still hot is no good. Huh?
Just before we went on the air, our studio audience selected a weightlifter, Mr. John Farbotnik, and his partner...
Please, don't make up any names here. Give us the names they actually are. We have enough trouble.
The weightlifter's name is Mr. John Farbotnik, and the housewife is Mrs. Regina Roberts. And here they are, folks. Meet Groucho Marx, right up here.
Welcome to You Bet Your Life, kids. And if
Hello,
you say the
sir.
secret word, you'll divide $100. It's a common word, something you always have with you. Mr. John Farbotnik, that's what it is. Doesn't seem possible, but that's what it is. Gotta keep my trap shut. You're a weightlifter, huh?
That's right.
Weightlifter, huh? Where are you from? Muscle Shoals?
Well, originally I'm from Philadelphia, but I'm traveling.
Let me
the
get
last
my
few
laugh
years.
first, will you? How would you like it if you said something brilliant and I rode right over it like that? Where are you from? Muscle Shoals? Went better the first time, I think. Where are you from?
Well, originally I'm from Philadelphia, but I've been traveling the last few years.
Well, I'm sure that I can't help you out on that. Have you spoken to the police in these various cities? You sure you're not from Muscle Shoals?
No, I'm not.
It's such a funny place to be from. Mrs. Roberts, are you from Muscle Shoals?
No, sir.
Where are you from?
New York originally.
Wait, I forgot his name. Oh, John. I'll call you John, huh? I'll call you Farbotnik. That's easier than John. Are you married, John?
Yes, I am. I've been married 2 years.
And what sort of work does your husband do, Mrs. Mrs. Roberts.
My husband's recuperating, sir.
Well, that's nice work if you can get it. What do you mean? He's building chicken coops?
No, sir. He was shot. He was a policeman in New York.
Oh, well, I hope he wasn't seriously hurt, was he?
He's feeling much better since we've been out here.
Well, wish him speedy recovery for me, will you?
Thank you very kindly.
And what did he do before... oh, he was a policeman, huh? Was he on the force very long?
17 and a half years.
How did you meet him?
My sister was expecting a baby. And you know how babies unexpectedly come. So I had heard that if you called the police department, they might bring assistance. So my husband and another policeman came, and he delivered the baby. And then after that, he used to come to visit the baby as a pretext. He used to say he wanted to see how the baby was coming along.
And he was really coming there to see your sister?
No, he was coming to see me. And up to that time, I never had a sweetheart, so that was all right.
You said sweetheart, and you and John, Mr. Pobotnik, are going to split $100. Well, your husband's got $50 tonight that he didn't have this morning, huh?
I have it.
Well, there is a difference. Now, Mr. Pobotnik, I'm fascinated. Have you got a nickname, or shall I keep calling you Pobotnik?
Well, my friends usually call me Muscles.
Are you from Muscle Shoals?
No, I'm not.
Well, what do you do?
Well, I'm an instructor at the Physical Services Gymnasium at Westwood and Santa Monica Boulevards.
I see. What kind of equipment do you have there?
Well, we have toe-raising machines, we have leg-pressing machines, and latissimus dorsi machines, and machines develop your latissimus dorsi muscles of your
Where is
upper
your
back.
latissimus dorsi? Or is it safe to ask that? Don't tell me it's in Santa Monica. Huh? Where is the latissimus dorsi?
They're the large muscles of your upper back that give you the taper from your shoulders to your waist.
I see. You're speaking for yourself now, are you? Samson, does all this weightlifting do you any good?
Yes, it does.
In what way?
Well, I've seen fellows come into the gym and train for a year or so and come out with a perfect figure.
Really? I went into a burlesque theater the other night. Within 15 minutes, I came out with a perfect figure. Now, tell us something about your physique, John. For example, have you ever won any weightlifting contests?
Yes, I have. I won Mr. Chicago in 1946, and
you won Mr. Chicago?
And Mr. Illinois after that, and Mr. California just lately.
Wouldn't you rather win Miss Atlantic City?
Be for keeps?
Well, even if only temporarily. I held the title one back in 1927. I was Mr. Spineless of 1927. And I've never relinquished that title either. Well, there's no point, John, in having a perfect body if you don't show it to anybody. Would you mind giving us a peek at your framework?
Here?
Why not? You do it at the beach, don't you?
Well, the beach is all right, but not in front of an audience.
Well, this is hardly an audience. Just look at them, huh? Go on, take your coat off and shirt, and let's see what a real man looks like. Now, girls, restrain yourself out there. Are you sure you're not from Muscle Shoals? Say, are those real muscles?
Sure are.
They are, eh? How often do you have to pump them up?
Well, I exercise them 3 times a week.
How big are your measurements? I mean, how big is your chest? That is your chest there, isn't it?
About 50 inches.
50 inches? Is that up and down or around this way? Say, John, would you object if Mrs. Roberts felt your muscles?
Not at all.
Go ahead, Mrs. Roberts. They won't bite you. Now, Mrs. Roberts, how does your husband compare with his greyhound bust?
He doesn't have those muscles, but I like him better.
I see. I like my husband, but oh, you fanatnik, huh? Well, John, figures don't lie, and yours is no exception. And neither is yours, Mrs. Roberts.
Oh, gosh, thanks.
Now, let's see how well you make out in the race for the $1,500. You've got to run your $20 into more than our other couples. I can't tell you how much our first couple won, but Fenneman's off stage to remind our listeners.
The weatherman and the drive-in theater cashier won $199.
All right, you selected locations of countries. Now you have $20. How much are you going to bet on your first question?
15.
15. What country is directly west of Spain?
Portugal.
Portugal is right.
And you're off to a good start. You have $35.
How quickly you knew that, Mrs. Roberts, huh? Remember, you're going for $1,500. Now, how much of the $30 will you bet on? $35 will you bet on your second question?
30.
30. What country is directly east of Alaska?
Canada.
Canada is right.
Now you have $65.
Here's your third question. How much of the 65?
60.
What country is directly south of the United States?
Mexico.
Mexico.
Boy, you're really on your way. You have $125.
All right, now here's your last chance to beat the other couples. How much of the 125 are you going to go for? How much of the 25 are you going to go for? Here we go with the last
whole
question.
thing.
Last
The
chance.
whole works.
How much?
The whole thing.
The whole works?
Please.
You terrify me, Mrs. Roberts. What country is directly east of Ireland?
England.
England is right.
And you wind up with $250 from the DeSoto Plymouth Dealers of America. Thank you very much.
Thanks to both of
Thank
you.
you.
Huh?
Well, Groucho, the secret
Who's next
word...
on the agenda?
I was going to tell you the secret word is still heart.
Still hot.
Yes. We invited some identical twins to the program tonight, and here they are.
Talk slow so I can smoke.
Miss Jane Luther and Miss Jean Luther. Meet Groucho Marx.
Twins, eh?
Yes.
Welcome for the DeSoto, Plymouth, Dealer. How are you?
Just fine.
And if you say the secret word, you'll divide $100, just $100 in cash. It's a common word, something you always have with you. Jane and Jean Luther, huh?
Mm-hmm.
You're identical twins?
Yes, we are.
Double trouble. Luther, eh? That's an odd name. Which one is Jane?
I'm Jane.
You're Jane? And which one is June?
There is no June.
I thought June came right after me.
I'm Jean.
Well, you're Jean, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Did Jane come after Jean, or did Jean come after Jane?
Jean came right after Jane.
How much after?
10 minutes.
That long, eh?
Well, I don't think that's very long.
No, but it can be very important. Another 10 minutes, you might have been triplets. Now, let's get this straight so I know who I'm talking to. Now, left to right, you're Jane and you're Jean. Is that right?
No. I'm Jean and she's Jane.
Well, who's Luther?
We're both Luther.
You're both Luther?
Yes.
Well, I'll just call you Sam and Hyman, after my two titles. Jane, you're Jane, huh?
Yes.
Where are you from originally?
Born in Fort Worth, Texas.
Uh-huh. Not in Walla Walla, huh?
No.
Well, they not only grow them big in Texas, they grow them double down there. Very attractive, too. Huh?
Thank you.
Which one is thanking me?
We both are.
Gene, this is only a wild guess, but I'll bet you're from Fort Worth, too, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Now, why am I so psychic? Jane, I'm embarrassed to ask a woman point blank how old she is, so tell me, how old is your sister?
Well, she's 10 minutes younger than I am.
That's twins for you, double talk, eh? Jean, how old are you? And don't tell me 10 minutes younger than June.
28.
Oh, 28, eh? Then June must be 10 minutes less than 28?
No,
that can't
Jane.
be right. June has 30 days. Jane, are you married, Jane?
No, I'm not.
In that case, Jean, you're not married either, am I right?
That's right, I'm not married.
You see, since you're both named Luther, you couldn't be married if your sister isn't.
Well?
Brother, am I shrewd? Just call me the fat man. Now, Jean, I'm curious to know why you aren't married. You're very attractive.
I'm having too much fun just being single.
Well, you may not be married, but you're certainly not single. What do you mean having too much fun? What do you consider fun?
Well, I like to go dancing and skiing and ice skating, and I like to indulge in each sport with a different fellow.
In other words, you're a three-man woman, is that it? Now, you say you're identical twins. Do you like the same boys?
Well, we leave that up to the boy.
But do you find out that you like the same type boys?
Yes, we do, the same type.
Well, that can be rather embarrassing, can it?
Yes.
If there's only one boy and you both like him?
Well, we let him make his choice, and then it's up to him.
Well, how does he know which one he's picking?
That runs into confusion.
And sometimes runs into money. I must say it's been very confusing talking to you two. Now, let's see if two heads are better than one. You're going to play You Bet Your Life for a chance at $1,500. That's the DeSoto Plymouth big question. I can't tell you how much our other couples won, but Fenneman is off stage to remind our listeners.
The weightlifter and the housewife are ahead with $250.
Here we go. Let's see how high I can build you $20. You select it. Name the song. Oh, am I going to get mixed up on this? Do you know any old songs, Fenneman?
I hope so.
I may need all your assistance before I'm through here. Now, here's your first question. How much you going to bet?
15.
15? 30 you going to bet? You only had 20, you know.
15.
Oh, 7.5 apiece.
Yes.
Da-dum, da-dum, da-da, da-dum, da-da-dum, da-da-da-dee.
Old Lang Syne.
Old Lang Syne is right.
And the twins are on your way. You have $35.
$35. Remember, you're going for 1,500 clams tonight. Now, how much of the 35 you going to bet?
30.
30. If a body meets a body, come and fray the tune.
Coming through the rye.
Coming through the rye is right.
Now you have $65.
Boy, did I come through the rye the other night, huh? Here's your third question. How much of the 65 you going to go for?
60. 60. Oh, listen to the Mockingbird.
Listen to the Mockingbird.
You're really on your way, girls. You have $125.
And a finer rendition of the Mockingbird, you'll go a long ways to hear. Here's your last chance to beat the other couples. No, couples. That's the trouble when you take up a foreign language. You don't know what you're reading. How much money have you got?
You have $125.
Well, that's a vast sum. You know that? And how much are you betting?
All of it.
All of it? Dee-da-da-dum, dee-da-da-dum,
Oh, my darling Clementine.
Oh, my darling Clementine is right.
And Groucho, if my figures
are... coat free, too.
Groucho, if my figures are correct.
And your figures rarely are correct, Adam.
This time I think they are. They wind up with $250, and that means we're in a tie, because the weightlifter and the housewife also won with $250.
Well, land sakes, huh?
So we'll bring them both up and let them both have a chance at the big question.
With the big 4th of July weekend coming up, chances are you'll be out driving. And before you go, make sure your car is roadworthy by giving it a complete checkup at your DeSoto Plymouth dealers. There, master technicians, experienced on the job, trained in factory methods, and using the most modern tools and equipment, will tune up your engine so it really sings. They'll check brakes and lights and other vital safety features and make any necessary repairs. Also, if a new part is needed, your DeSoto Plymouth dealer can supply you immediately with the right factory-approved parts. Remember, visit your DeSoto Plymouth dealers first. And keep in mind that wherever you drive, you'll always be near one of the more than 3,000 DeSoto Plymouth dealers of America.
Here are our winning couples, Groucho. The weightlifter and the housewife and the identical twins. Now, you both have 15 seconds to write down an answer to our big $1,500 question. Here's a pencil for you two, a piece of paper and a pencil for you two. And if you... I don't know how... You want to try it?
If they both get the answer, they'll split the money between them.
That's the answer,
And if the one team gets the answer, they'll win all the money.
It figures.
You see how simple it is when I do it? All right, here we go for $1,500. Between England and Ireland, there is a body of water. For $1,500, tell me, what is the name of this body of water? Irish Straits, and the twin said the Whale Sea, which is incorrect. So I think that the Mr. Fanotnik over here and Mrs. Roberts. You're all right, kid. You're all right. I'm sorry you couldn't both win. But you won a lot of money anyhow, huh? Well, that's right. You win $1,500. Come over here, kids, and tell us what are you going to do with that money. What are you going to do with your money, Mrs. Roberts?
My children have been asking for a television set for so long. I think I can buy them one.
The correct answer, technically, is the Irish Sea, but they said the Irish Straits, and we think that's close enough for them to win the money. Now, Muscle Shoals, what are you going to do with your swag?
I just want to feel it for a while.
Now, let's see. You won $1,500 plus $250 in the quiz. So you really cleaned up tonight.
They had the secret word, too.
And the secret word, eh? Well, let's see. $1,850 you're splitting. Well, congratulations from the more than 3,000 DeSoto Plymouth dealers from coast to coast. You bet your life.
Be sure to tune in again next Wednesday night at this same time for the Best of Groucho from the You Bet Your Life series. Don't miss the Best of Groucho on television, too. Also presented by the DeSoto Plymouth Dealers of America. And remember, all dealers who sell DeSoto also sell Plymouth. Two great cars, both products of the Chrysler Corporation.
And when you drive in, tell them Groucho sent you. Good night, folks, and remember, see the DeSoto Fire Dome 8 tomorrow.
Folks, here's a rhyme from the National Safety Council. The rules for driving safely add up to only 3: common sense and caution and common courtesy.
You Bet Your Life, transcribed from Hollywood, is produced by John Goodell, directed by Robert Dwan and Bernie Smith, music by Jerry Fielding. This is George Fenneman signing off for the more than 3,000 DeSoto Plymouth dealers from coast to coast.